We've got an Australian puppy swarm. These Labradoodle puppies are 4 weeks old, and in today's video we're going to talk about what they've done this past week, which is starting on solid food, and we're also going to talk about equipment. Hi, I'm Claire from Van Isle Labradoodles, and these are our Jingle Paws puppies. And please excuse my voice today. I've come down with a little bit of a cold, and it is impacting my voice, so you may have to turn your volume up a bit more. So these little kiddos are 4 weeks old today, and oh my goodness, we are going to have to make some adjustments because they are rocking and rolling. These puppies are roaring around, they're playing with Joya, they're playing with toys, and they are just having the best time exploring the world. So we need to give them a bigger world to explore. So right after we shoot today's video, we're going to open things up and we're going to give them a whole heck of a lot more real estate. The other thing we're going to do probably over the weekend is we're going to start introducing them to the doggy door. We're going to see if they are willing to start learning how to push on that to get outdoors. We like to let the puppies tell us when they're ready for their new adventures. We don't want to be asking them to do things that they're not comfortable with and not ready to do. The big key is we provide them with all the opportunities. And you can see Joya right there. She's just growling at Yellow Collar. And the reason why she's doing that is because Yellow was chewing on her and trying to take the toy away. So when the puppies have toys that Joya particularly likes, she will discipline them and tell them, those are hers. And is this a good thing or is this a bad thing? Well, this is a really good thing because puppies need to learn that bigger dogs do not appreciate having their special things taken away from them. So that might be a toy or that might be food. Those are the usual key resources for dogs. So right there, Yellow Collar got told off. And now you see she's going to come and give him a big kiss and say, I love you. You're a good puppy. Don't touch my toy again. So the animal world is a little bit more basic than the human world. Obviously, a human mom is not going to get mad at her puppy for trying to touch one of her toys. And see, now she's also telling Green off. So what I'm going to do now that I've observed that is I'm just going to remove this toy. And when we're finished the video, we'll just take it out entirely. Because I really don't want Joya to be having lots of conversations with the babies where she's telling them off. I prefer to have conversations for her where she is rewarding them. Is that natural? Meh. Who knows? I'm not sure, but that's how we're going to do things here. So we'll just take that toy right out of here. Lots of times when we introduce new toys, we don't know. Is this going to be one that's particularly loved by mom? Is this one that's going to be particularly loved by the puppies? So it's a matter of let's see. So this is one of the reasons why it's really key that we have the puppies in an area where they can always be observed and that we're always here with them. So we do go back and forth, but when we have them on their own where they're having their sleeping time, then we've already made sure that any possible issues have been resolved. Joya this week is just doing great. She is allowed out in the back. Now she has free run of the property again, which she very much enjoys. She takes off at 100 miles an hour when I open the gate. She and Posey and our 3 dogs, they all go galloping down, they run around. They go and they sniff and they find where all the rabbits and the deer have been. They go exploring around the pond and just generally have a great time. And you can see there where she's making up a little bit with Yellow Collar. And now what about the puppies? What have they been doing this week? Well, they have teeth. And Green Collar is chewing on my finger right now, and I can really feel those teeth. So as a result, we have started introducing solid food. And oh my goodness, is it a mess. They get all through it. They get all sticky. You'll see today when I hold them up, some of them will have some remnants of their food on there. And you can see, like right here, Blue Collar Boy he's got a whole bunch of sticky food attached to his back. And that's because puppies learn to eat this food by starting off licking it off of one another. They run through it, they fall in it, they slip and slide. You can also see orange collar right over in the collar here, in the corner here. He's playing with a rope toy. So this is also because he's getting his teeth. So this week we see the puppies starting to want to chew all the time. They want something in their mouth constantly, and they're always trying to get those teeth through. So that's why you'll see that we've changed some of the toys out this week. So there are things that are a little bit more substantial for them to chew on. And this also is our key to understand that it is time to introduce them to solid food. Because those teeth, they're sharp. Are they hurting me yet? Not quite, but are they uncomfortable? Yes. And when you've got your milk bar fully exposed and you've got this many sets of teeth, you're starting to get very keen on the idea of your puppies being weaned. So lots of times people ask us if our moms are sad when their puppies go home, or if our moms are sad when we start limiting their time with them when the weaning process is going on. And I can tell you the answer is always no. They're usually like, yay, hallelujah, my job's done. My kids are independent, they're ready to fly the coop, and I don't have to have those teeth on my milk bar anymore. I can only imagine how uncomfortable that must be, because they're strong now, and when they're nursing, they're not just lying there quietly sucking like they were before. They're pulling and they're demanding more and more because they're hungry, because they're growing. Puppies, when they're little, right up till the time they're about 6 months, are eating. This is when they consume the most food. When your puppy goes home from our house, when they're 8 weeks old, they'll be eating more food than they will as an adult. It's amazing how much little growing bodies can consume in a day. Joy is trying to get out, but the camera is in the way there, so she's trying to figure out how she can jump out without knocking over the tripod for the camera and the light, because she is done. She doesn't want to nurse them anymore, so she's trying to get out, but she's also very sweet and very well behaved, and she knows it's not a good thing to knock everything over. You'll be fine. It's okay. We won't talk too long. Now, one of the other things I wanted to talk about in terms of the puppies is equipment. This isn't something we talk a lot about. Usually when we do these update videos, we talk a lot about their food, we talk a lot about their toys, and we talk a lot about socialization. Now, we talked quite a bit in Posey's Week 3 update. That's the Pacific Coast Confections playlist. We talked quite a bit last week about what is training? What does that mean? Why do we not really hear the term obedience anymore? And just as we're watching here, you can see Red Collar has been playing with Joya's tail, using the teeth and pulling the tail. So these are all reasons why Mom is usually quite happy when their puppies go home. But they're really having fun playing with her, and she's a great mom. So I would love it if all of the families who are on Joya's list would please watch the Week 3 update for the Pacific Coast Confections litter, and just listen to the conversation we have there about what training really is and why it's so important to your dog. And then following through with that, of course, with training we have equipment. So usually what people are most concerned about when they're training, which I don't like that word, I like to call it learning. So what we're really doing is learning with our dog to adapt to one another's ways and to shape things so that your dog lives successfully in a world that's entirely foreign to them. Because don't forget, we're asking dogs to change most of their natural behaviors so that they fit into our world. So for instance, in our world, we do this a lot. We have a puppy and we pick them up. We pick them up, we say hi, we touch noses, we do all sorts of things with them. Well, in dog world, nobody would ever pick anybody up. It just doesn't happen. They're not physically able to do that to one another. So right from the get-go, the puppies are being asked to change what is part of their natural way to suit how we do things. So when we're working with our dogs and we go to class, of course we have a leash, and oftentimes we have a collar, and sometimes we have a harness. So collars are something we do not promote here at Van Isle Doodles whatsoever. You'll see Joya, and anytime you see any of our dogs, they never have a collar on. And there's a reason for that. First of all, there's a very unimportant reason, but it is also a comfort reason for the dog. It wrecks their fur. It breaks all the fur around their neck. From a dog's comfort perspective, having something around their neck is very annoying. It also causes their coat to mat, especially in ALDs, because they have all of these beautiful soft wavy coats. This coat can become matted really readily. So if you've got a collar on all the time, it's not uncommon to see quite a bit of matting around the neck. And if you don't see matting, what you see is a lot of broken coat. They have coat for a reason. Their coat serves a lot of purposes. So when you start destroying it and breaking it, you're not doing your dog any favors. Collars, no matter what age of the dog, can become caught very readily in a variety of things. Even something like this X-Pen here, a collar could be stuck in. Particularly since we tend to put all sorts of things on our dogs' collars. We have name tags, we have air tags, we have municipal licensing tags, all sorts of things like that. And it's really easy for all of those to get stuck in something. Similarly with a heat vent, if you have forced air heating. If you don't have that and you have baseboard heating in the baseboard, in a door, you can't imagine all the places where a dog can get hung up. And sure, lots of collars say they're breakaway and that if it gets stuck, they'll just come apart. That doesn't always happen. I have seen so many dogs that have hanged themselves and died because they have a collar on. The other thing is if you're walking with your dog, when you have a young puppy, their tracheas are still developing. They have zero idea what leash tension means. When they go out, they either want to stick right beside you or they're boinking around like little rabbits, and generally they're like, ooh, 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 what's out here? Let's go over there. Let's go over here. Let's try over here. They have no concept of the fact that they're attached to something that's going to go or is going to become tight. And what happens if you have that leash attached to their collar is you are damaging those trachea muscles. They are so precarious at any time, even in an adult dog, but in a puppy particularly so, because they're very malleable, they're very soft, they're just forming. And when you have a puppy who starts to pull on the leash because they're interested in something, first of all, you're harming their trachea, potentially fatally harming them. And second of all, you're teaching them really bad habits because you're teaching them about pulling on the leash. All of those things are not things we want your puppy to be learning with you. So instead, what we recommend is what we call a step-in harness. There's a million harnesses on the market. A lot of them are gimmicky. A lot of them have a clip in the front of the chest, and they call themselves no pull. The way you get no leash pulling with your puppy is to learn with them, to teach you and your puppy secondarily how to walk without that leash tension. But what has to happen first is you have to learn how to do that long before your puppy learns how to manage with leash tension. Joya's trying to get out again there. Benno's just trying to give her a clear path by moving the light. And she's being very careful because she's got a purple attached to her. Okay, Joya, go. Okay, let's go. Go ahead, there you go. There we are. She's so considerate looking after her puppies like that. And of course her primary goal there was to get out so she get that toy she was so keen on. So this is something I want you to really keep in mind is the use of collars. We do not use collars ever. The only time we ever have a collar is if we're just walking in and out of the groomer, because the groomer does have a collar on the dog to put the leash on when they're putting the dog out of their crate. They don't wear their collars in the crate, only to enter and exit the building. Now you may like to use the collar because it's a handy place to put all that identification and licensing. Because when you go out for a walk with a dog, you need to have your licensing information there to show to bylaw if they come along, or if your dog happens to disappear. So that's fine. If they have a collar on while you're out and it's just to hold their ID, that's totally fine. You can also put it on the harness. So the step-in harness has no chest plate. Reynolds, is there one over on the bamboo thing? I'm just going to show you about what I mean by that. Basically what it is you put it up the front two legs and it comes around and it clips on the top of the bag. Reynolds got one there for you that I can give you a little demonstration. And of course this is the one that comes in your puppy starter kit. So it looks like nothing, and you're thinking, well, what's so special about that? I mean, that looks like absolutely nothing. That's the point. You want nothing. So the dog's two legs go through here, and then you clip on the top here. This is a breakaway, but it is held and your dog is safe because you clip the leash through these two clips that are on the back of the dog. This is the size that your puppy will go home with. It's way too big for them right now. And then this is all that goes across the front of their body. And you can see it's highly adjustable. So the reason that this is so important and the reason this one is so good is because there's nothing to it. When you have a harness with all these pretty patterns and a chest plate and all this other stuff, what happens is it makes your dog's shoulders roll forward like this. It constricts their breathing, which is obviously not a good thing. And because their shoulders are like this instead of like this, they develop bad posture, just like we do. And just like us, when the puppies get older, that bad posture causes all sorts of issues, arthritis, muscle pain. It also means your puppy's forward reach is limited. This is how puppies get somewhere. They kick off and with their toes on their hind legs, that's what drives them forward. And then they reach with their front leg, they plant that paw, and that propels them this way. So they get propulsion from the rear and the front. If you have your paw only going here, your dog's running like this instead of like this. You can see this in lots of breeds that have been artificially selected for particular traits. I'm talking about kennel dog breeds now, and they're reaching like this instead of having that full extension. So take a look next time you're watching dogs run and check. See if you can see that full extension. So when you have those big heavy harnesses on, a dog cannot properly extend. And when they can't properly extend, it also means they're not exercising their shoulders properly. They're doing this, or they're doing this, or they're doing this. All problematic things as your dog gets older. You won't see it now. Martingales, those are collars that have a chain in them. They're a modified choke collar. In my opinion, choke collars, prong collars, martingales should all be outlawed. They are extremely painful for dogs. What that teaches your dog is, I don't like my collar, I don't trust you, you inflict pain on me. I will not pull as much because I'm scared of you, but I haven't actually learned not to pull. I've just learned to be scared of you and to try and avoid pain. When we're learning with our dogs, we don't want to teach them by way of them being afraid of pain. We want to teach them, hey, this is the behavior we would love to see. This is what makes us happy. And when we're happy, we reward you. We pay you. You have to always be paying your dog. And when they're little, you're paying them with treats. And as they get older, you're paying them with love, kindness, and praise. So if Joya does something good, sure, she likes it if I give her a treat. But when she does something good, I'm like, oh, good girl, Joya, thank you. What a good girl. I love you so much, Joya. That's what she takes pleasure in. That's what reinforces for her to behave in a certain way. Now, if Joya does something that I don't want her to do, sometimes, let's say, well, when she was growling at her puppies and I didn't want her to be quite so bossy with them, all I do is change the tone of my voice. So the reward comes from the tone of my voice, and the displeasure comes from the tone of my voice as well. And once you've established a really good, strong bond with your dog, they want you to be happy. Now that's learning, and that's learning the way that works best for you and for your dog. So don't be fooled by a bunch of silly gadgets and gizmos. You'll find none of those in your puppy starter kit because we don't believe in them. We don't even use clickers. Clickers are also a gadget and a gizmo. And clickers are very easy to not use correctly as the human. So what the purpose of a clicker is when the dog does what you want them to do, you click and treat. And then the dog begins to make the association in their head, behavior, click, treat, behavior, click, treat. So that then they associate the sound of the clicker with doing whatever it is you want them to do. The trouble is, they don't know when you're clicking what it is you want, so you have to use a verbal cue anyways. And the problem is, most likely you will not click at the right time. It is very hard to have your dog watch them, have them do what you want, click immediately and treat immediately. Your hands are so busy. And if you're walking and you have your dog on a leash, you've got a leash, you've got a puppy, and now you got a clicker and a treat, and it always gets messed up. And that then confuses the dog. Then they have no idea what on earth it is that you're doing or trying to do, and so they start to ignore you. The complete opposite of what it is you're trying to do. So that's why I do not like clicker training. I don't think I have the skills to do it properly so that my dog learns well. But it is really easy for me to go, yes, good dog. So my cue, rather than a clicker with a puppy, is yes, yes. I mark their behavior with yes. So let's say we're waiting for somebody to sit, and here's little red collar, and she sits. I'm going to go yes, and I'm going to give her the hand signal, and I'm going to go good sit. You'll learn all of this from a professional trainer, which I am not. I am just explaining to you why we promote certain things and not others. Oh, Joya, now you brought your prize in here. You do that just so you can growl at everyone. So now that Joya's done this, this is an interesting situation. I removed the toy because she was growling, and now she's brought it back in after I removed it. So what is that telling me? That's telling me that she's telling me that, hey, it is time for these puppies to learn this lesson, and I am going to teach it whether you want me to or not. So in that case, I listen to her, and all I do is monitor it and make sure everything's going all right. So that's a little bit of info on training, learning, and equipment, why we do not use collars. Choke collars, of course, are horrible things. Prong collars are ridiculous. Goodness knows why they're even allowed, but unfortunately they are. So you don't want any gimmicky things. You just need a lovely, simple step-in harness, a good leash, and that's it. You don't need the collar at all. You can put the ID on the harness as well if you want. You can clip ID onto one of the D rings here if you want, or even on one of the O rings if you prefer to have it there. I usually, with my dogs, I keep their municipal tags in my pocket. I don't put it on them because I can't stand all the clunking that goes on, and I think it's very distracting as a dog, and probably somewhat annoying. So now the puppies, let's see, we have a change in who's the smallest this week. We don't have a change in who's the biggest. We'll go through that, and then I'll put down their pan of food and see if they're interested, so you can all watch them eat before I pick them all up and they get it all over me. Haha. So we're going to start with Blue Collar Boy because he's number one. Oh my goodness, are you number one? Yes, you are. And what a good boy. He just peed in the right place. A very good boy. And Mr. Blue this week is 1.46 kilograms. And so you'll notice that they're not gaining quite as rapidly as they have been now. Excuse me, which is of course normal and what we would expect now. And then we have Red Collar Girl, who is still our biggest puppy. And she's over here with Mama Joya. No, I don't want you. I don't want you. I didn't weigh you. No, you're not getting bigger. Thank you for the kisses. Oh, I love you too. Aren't you just the very best girl in the whole world? Oh, thank you. I love you. Here's a Red Collar Girl, our little sweetie chocolate party girl. Oopsie, sorry, sweetheart. And Miss Red is 1.66 kilograms. And you can see the evidence of her meal on her foot there. And the reason why it's orange is because it has pumpkin in it. This one we're going to have to cut out. The pumpkin is in there to help their digestion as they switch from mother's milk over onto the solid food. Thank you. Then we have Green Collar, and Green Collar is not the smallest this week. No, he's not. He has gone up the scale. Oh my goodness me. What a big event for you, Mr. Green. Now, I want to also show you a Mr. Green. Look at this here. Do you see some fur sticking out? It looks like he got electrocuted. Well, no, we don't electrocute our puppies. No, no. What that is the coat is lifting. That's what gives us this beautiful, full, fluffy ALD coat, like you can see in Mama Joya there. Mr. Green is 1.32 kilograms. There you go, sweet love. You go see it to Mama. And then we have Orange Collar, who's over here with the Joya's favorite toy, having a great time there working on the ears. And that's a really good example of a puppy who's showing you what they do when they're teething, getting some of those different textures there and just getting everything in the mouth, just having a great time trying to get those little tooths through. And Orange is this week 1.38 kilograms. And that takes us over to Pink Color. Well, I think is, oh, goodness me, excuse me. I need to get Pink Color here. All wedged in between her two mums, her human mum and her dog mum. Yes, were you all wedged in there? This is our little girl who just makes us smile all the time with her Neapolitan colored ears here with her beautiful chocolate going into this white ear. I just can't get over how adorable that is. I just think that's the neatest feature. And Miss Pinky is 1.39 kilograms. That takes us over to Yellow. Goodness, we're having a nice little nap here using my head as a pillow. Yeah, that's Mr. Blue. Where is Lello? Are you Lello back here? Who's back here? Yep, that is Yellow. Now, Yellow has a little story to tell you this week. Well, I'm going to tell it for Yellow, since Yellow doesn't talk. This week, all week, up until yesterday, this was the most outgoing puppy. Oh, was the first one out there, not scared of anything, had a few barks telling me off, running around like crazy. And then yesterday, we went into a little bit of a fear period. Oh, now everything scares me and I'm petrified. You'll watch, he'll give me a little bit of aversion. Yep, when I try to touch when we were weighing them just before we started shooting the video, he just about had a meltdown there when we picked him up to put him on the scale. The scale scared him. Everything has just been so scary for Mr. Yellow. This is totally normal, and this is why we always say to you, please do not make a decision and pick a favorite and think a puppy is outgoing or a puppy is shy, because you have no idea if they're going to change the next day. 3 days ago, if you'd asked me, I'd have said this was the most confident and outgoing puppy. Now look, he's got his legs all up like that. Everything is petrifying him. Oh my gosh, the world is just a scary place. So what do? We just let him be, mostly. We give him a little bit more attention, a little bit more time, as I'm doing right now. Make sure that we touch him even more, make a few loud noises around him, and try and get him out of his little silliness. He's 1.29 kilograms. And watch, next week, he might be Mr. Bold and Adventure again. We'll put him downside with his brother here. There, you go hang out with your brother. He'll tell you you're silly. Then we have Miss Purpy Collar. Where's